Throughout history, some years were more than just challenging, they were catastrophic. In this series, we embark on a haunting journey through time to uncover the darkest years humanity struggled to survive. Prepare to delve into the annals of the past as we count down the top 10 worst years to have ever been alive. The year is 536 AD. Imagine a world shrouded in an impenetrable fog, a darkness so pervasive that the sun's rays struggled to pierce through. This was no ordinary fog. It was a colossal cloud of volcanic ash from eruptions of unimaginable scale. As this ash blanket enveloped the northern hemisphere, temperatures plummeted. Across Europe, the Middle East, and parts of Asia, crops withered and died under the suffocating darkness. The lifeblood of civilization, agriculture, ground to a halt, and famine grew more menacing. The year 536 AD serves as a stark reminder of the immense power of the natural world and the fragility of human existence. Few years in human history evoke such a visceral sense of dread as 1347. It was the year the Black Death, a devastating pandemic of bubonic plague, tightened its grip on Europe. Imagine medieval cities teeming with life transformed into desolate landscapes of death and decay. Carried by fleas that infested rats, the plague spread like wildfire, moving with terrifying speed. Entire families were wiped out, their homes left eerily empty. The social fabric of society unraveled as panic and fear gripped the hearts of millions. By the time the Black Death had run its course, it had claimed an estimated 200 million lives in Europe alone. The world had just endured the horrors of World War I, but a new and invisible enemy was lurking on the horizon. In 1918, as the guns fell silent on the battlefields, a deadly influenza virus emerged, sweeping across the globe. The Spanish flu attacked the young and healthy with particular virulence, leaving a trail of devastation. Hospitals overflowed with the sick and dying, their corridors echoing with the rasping coughs of those struggling to breathe. Public gatherings were banned, schools and businesses shuttered as communities grappled with the invisible enemy. By the time the pandemic subsided in 1920, it had infected an estimated 500 million people worldwide, claimed an estimated 50 million lives, a third of the global population. 1941, a year etched in history as the year the full horrors of World War II were unleashed. The conflict, already raging across Europe and Asia, escalated to unimaginable levels. On December 7, 1941, the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor shattered any illusions of American isolationism. The Pacific theater of war erupted with brutal battles fought from the coral atolls of the Pacific to the jungles of Southeast Asia. Meanwhile, in Europe, Hitler's armies marched eastward, their advance marked by unspeakable atrocities. The Holocaust, a systematic campaign of genocide, reached its horrific peak. 1941 stands as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked aggression. Imagine a year where the seasons seemed to vanish, where the expected warmth of summer was replaced by an unrelenting chill that gripped the land. Instead of blooming flowers and sunny days, people faced icy winds and wore winter clothing in the middle of summer. The year 1816, known as the Year Without a Summer, was a time of unprecedented climatic anomaly. This year serves as a chilling reminder of the interconnectedness of our planet, where events in one part of the world can have far-reaching consequences. The culprit behind this climatic chaos was a series of massive volcanic eruptions, which had a profound impact on global weather patterns. The most powerful of these was the eruption of Mount Tambora in Indonesia in 1815, one of the largest volcanic events in recorded history. These eruptions spewed millions of tons of ash and sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, creating a veil that spread across the globe. This veil dimmed the sun's rays, leading to a significant drop in temperatures worldwide. As temperatures plummeted, crops failed across Europe, North America, and Asia, leading to widespread agricultural collapse. Food shortages reached crisis levels, with markets running empty and people struggling to find enough to eat. This dire situation led to widespread famine and social unrest, as communities grappled with the harsh realities of survival. The events of 1816 serve as a stark reminder of the delicate balance of Earth's climate system and the far-reaching impacts of environmental disruptions. The year 1929 began with a sense of optimism, a belief that the Roaring Twenties would continue indefinitely. But on October 29th, that optimism evaporated like a wisp of smoke. Black Tuesday marked the beginning of the Great Depression, the worst economic downturn in modern history. When the stock market crashed, it set off a chain reaction of economic devastation that rippled across the globe. Banks failed, businesses shuttered, and millions found themselves out of work. Breadlines, once unimaginable in prosperous nations, became a common sight. The Dust Bowl, a devastating ecological disaster, compounded the suffering. The Great Depression was a time of immense hardship, but it also revealed the resilience of the human spirit. On December 26, 2004, a cataclysmic event unfolded in the depths of the Indian Ocean. It was a day that would be etched into the annals of history for its sheer scale of destruction and human tragedy. An undersea earthquake, one of the most powerful ever recorded, ripped apart the ocean floor off the coast of Sumatra, Indonesia. This seismic event, with a magnitude of 9.1 to 9.3, unleashed energy equivalent to 23,000 Hiroshima-type atomic bombs. The earthquake triggered a series of monstrous tsunamis, walls of water that rose up to 100 feet high. These towering waves traveled at speeds of up to 500 miles per hour, crossing the Indian Ocean with devastating efficiency. From Indonesia to Thailand, Sri Lanka to Somalia, the tsunami's reach was vast and merciless. Coastal regions were hit with little warning, leaving residents and tourists with no time to escape the oncoming deluge. Coastal towns and villages were reduced to rubble in an instant. Buildings, homes and infrastructure were obliterated, and entire communities were left in ruins. Tourists and locals alike were caught in the maelstrom, swept away by the receding waters or crushed beneath collapsing buildings. The human toll was staggering, with over 230,000 lives lost across 14 countries. The aftermath was a scene of unimaginable devastation. Rescue efforts were hampered by the sheer scale of the disaster, and the world watched in horror as the true extent of the tragedy became apparent. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami stands as a chilling reminder of the awesome power of nature. It underscored the need for better early warning systems and international cooperation in disaster response and preparedness. The year is 1939. A dark cloud of uncertainty hangs over Europe. On September 1st, 1939, Hitler's armies stormed into Poland, their blitzkrieg tactics catching the world off guard. Great Britain and France, bound by treaty to defend Poland, declared war on Germany, and the Second World War began. The world watched in horror as the Nazi war machine rolled across Europe, crushing all opposition. The Battle of Britain, a relentless aerial campaign, captured the world's attention. As 1939 drew to a close, the shadow of war had fallen, casting a long shadow over the future. In the emerald green fields of Ireland, a tragedy was unfolding. The land, known for its lush and fertile soil, was about to witness a catastrophe that would change its history forever. The year was 1845, and what began as a blight on potato crops would soon spiral into one of the darkest chapters in Irish history, the Great Hunger. The potato blight, caused by a fungus-like organism, spread rapidly, leaving fields barren and families desperate. The potato, a staple food for the Irish peasantry, was struck by a mysterious disease, its leaves blackening and its tubers rotting in the ground. This disease, known as Phytophthora infestans, decimated the primary food source for millions, leading to widespread starvation. As the blight spread with terrifying speed, so too did the spectre of famine. Entire communities found themselves without food, and the once vibrant countryside was filled with the cries of the hungry and the dying. The British government, slow to grasp the magnitude of the crisis, offered little aid to the starving Irish peasantry. Policies were inadequate, and relief efforts were minimal, exacerbating the suffering of the Irish people. Food exports from Ireland to England continued, even as Irish families were being torn apart by hunger and disease. The irony was stark and painful. While food left the shores of Ireland, its people were left to starve. The Great Hunger had a devastating impact on Ireland, claiming an estimated 1 million lives and forcing millions more to flee their homeland. The legacy of this tragedy is still felt today as the Irish diaspora spread across the world, carrying with them the memory of a homeland scarred by famine. In the early months of 2020, a novel coronavirus emerged in Wuhan, China, setting in motion a global pandemic. The virus, SARS-CoV-2, spread with alarming speed, crossing borders and continents. Countries around the world implemented lockdowns, shuttering businesses, closing schools, and urging citizens to stay home. Hospitals, overwhelmed by the influx of patients, became battlegrounds in the fight against the invisible enemy. The pandemic exposed deep inequalities, both within and between countries. As we grapple with the ongoing challenges posed by COVID-19, we are reminded of the importance of global cooperation and scientific innovation. As we've journeyed through these darkest chapters of human history, we've encountered unimaginable suffering, loss, and despair. Yet, amidst the darkness, we've also witnessed remarkable acts of courage, compassion, and resilience. History teaches us about resilience even in the face of unimaginable adversity. From the ashes of destruction, new beginnings emerge. Subscribe to Tenology for more fascinating countdowns.